What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Man, I was tripping off that dude in my comment section my last video talking about man, turn your phone off, man. Tired of hearing your phone go off for your video. Like, I'm listening to the video, I'm like, what are you talking about? What phone? I don't hear anything. Then I looked at his history of comments, and they were all, turn your phone off. How can we take you seriously if your phone's gone? I'm like, what is he talking about? I mean, yeah, every now and then, you might hear like a text message alert in the background. But you got to really be listening to it. So then I started thinking, like, does he mean my intro? Do you think my intro was my phone or something? The intro was my intro. Like, that's the only thing I could think he's talking about. Kind of remind me of that Simpsons episode with Mr. Burns and Don Mattingly, I told you to get rid of those sideburns. I don't know what you think, Sab. Don't argue with me. Just get rid of them. I don't know, man. But anyway, I said I wouldn't talk politics, and I did go a long time without talking it, but I got to talk a little bit of politics. It's just in my blood, man. It's in my DNA. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been in the news a lot lately, and in particular, she's been in the news because of the fact that she has become persona non grata with President Trump and MAGA. They see her as a turncoat. Okay. At one point in time, she was the darling of MAGA. She was one of the closest allies to Donald Trump. And, but apparently she has broken with him. I mean, if you look at things from a surface perspective, at least, she's broken with him on the whole Epstein thing. That plus she claims that she doesn't like some of the harsh rhetoric that's out there, some of the nastiness that's out there that has led to some of the extreme political violence that we've seen in recent months in the last year or two. And that's something that I think does resonate with a lot of people. Of course, what happened in Utah a couple months ago with who. You had those Democratic lawmakers that were shot, one of them unalived, I think it was last year during the summer. We had the near misses with Trump and some other politicians in recent years. But anyway, it was maybe about 2 weeks ago, I would say a week and a half ago, when Marjorie Taylor Greene announced that she was resigning from Congress, effective January the 5th, I think she said. And she's going to be, I think, on 60 Minutes tonight in an interview. And she's going to talk about some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes, I guess, or some of the reasonings why she decided to resign. And one of the things that she revealed, this is one of those previews they put out there. She feels that most Republicans, and when I say Republicans, I'm not talking about Trump voters. I'm talking about lawmakers in Washington that are Republican. She says most Republicans really don't like Trump. At least that's what she kind of, the message she's trying to get across. They don't really like Trump, but they support him out of fear. They're afraid of getting on his bad side. They're afraid of him going to Truth Social and essentially bullying them and either trying to politically destroy them or maybe even to a point where their safety could be in danger, right?
I'm going to ask you about this almost solid support he has among Republicans in Congress. Is there in that support fear? does the support come about? Because they're afraid that they'll get death threats.
I think they're terrified to step out of line and get a nasty Truth Social post on them. Yes.
And they're watching what happened to you.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, do they talk differently?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it would shock people.
Well, let's shock people.
Okay. I watched many of my colleagues go from making fun of him, making fun of how he talks, making fun of me constantly for supporting him, to when he won the primary in 2024, they all started, excuse my language, Leslie, kissing his ass and decided to put on a MAGA hat for the first time.
Right. So, that's her perspective, right? I've said on here before that I believe that essentially Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's a textbook politician. Everything that she's doing is calculated. Okay. But I've been thinking a little bit more about this situation, and this is what I think is going on. All right. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is disappointed initially at the fact that she hasn't been able to penetrate the inner workings or the inner circle of the Trump power structure. I think she is irritated at the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, she's never been either she's never been invited or she's never been welcomed to Mar-a-Lago. She's not really in Trump's inner circle like that. And I would assume some of that has to do with, some of the social structures. She's not of wealth. She's not from the same type of stock that Trump's from. When I say stock, I mean Trump comes from wealth. Trump comes from privilege. I think she comes from, I guess, what people would call PWT. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what that means or what it stands for, but you can probably try to figure that out. I think that might have something to do with it. I think that Trump sees her as I think he used to see her as useful, but she never was able to really get into that power structure. She's one of the biggest supporters of Trump, but she was never appointed to anything when Trump became president, right? I think she also sees that basically she's not going to, in her mind, advance any more than where she is. Like, she could stay in that district forever. But I think this is a person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is very, very, I think she's very ambitious. I think she wants to advance in politics. So I think she's hedging her bets on the cycle of politics. And the cycle of politics seems to indicate that there's going to be a swing from red to blue. We see this all the time. In the 80s, I'm talking on a national level. In the 80s, Republicans did very well. They had 3 consecutive electoral landslides. In the 90s, the Democrats did very well, right? With Bill Clinton. 2 consecutive decisive Democratic electoral victories. In the 2000s, although it was a much more polarized and closer climate, in 2004, Republicans won. And then you had 2 consecutive Democratic victories, and then you had Trump winning, then Biden. You get what I'm saying? It swings back and forth. The swings are more violent now and shorter termed because of how polarized we are now. But the swing back to Democrats is coming. She sees that. So I think she looks at the climate and she thinks that, okay, in order for me to stay politically viable, I got to get out of this MAGA cult. I got to get out of this and differentiate myself from that and rebrand myself as a different type of Republican. I think she also recognizes that the old Bush neocons want to regain some sort of control within the party as well. Because when you really look at MAGA, in my opinion at least, MAGA is pretty much spearheaded by Trump. He is MAGA. So without him, I'm not saying that you can't find find a Republican who can be influential, but as influential as Trump, probably not. And even with that, when you look at it, right, as influential as Trump is, but the 77 million people that voted for Trump, it's still only enough to barely win elections when you look at the grand scheme of things, right? So I think another Republican, if they're not able to solidly draw all of the support that Trump had in 2024, they're probably going to lose. And I think she's looking at building a different type of coalition. I think she's looking at trying to build a coalition with Republicans who feel like they're finally free from Trump. I guess she's trying to hedge that by 2026 or 2028, well, I'll say 2028. I guess she's going to try to hedge her bets that by that point in time, people are going to be kind of sick of Trump. Many Republicans are going to be looking for a new leader, one who is more of a uniter, not a divider. Sounds familiar? George W. Bush, one who can draw in some independents and even some Democrats who may have tired of some of the wokish policies of the Democratic Party. I could see that happening. I'm not saying it's going to, but I could see that happening. And I think that's what she's hedging her bets on. If not a national run, because I don't think really this country elects representatives or ex-representatives going to the White House. But I could see her running for Senate. I could see her running for governor of Georgia, right? And then ultimately maybe having a national kick at it. But let's not forget something here. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene, what, a year ago? Let's not forget that. She's a calculating politician. You can't trust her, okay? I know the mainstream media wants to make it seem like, oh, she's having a change of heart or a crisis of conscience and all that. I think this is all calculated on her part. Okay. Like I said, it's just my opinion. Tell me what you guys think.